What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is just going to be a short, cute little vlog style video about a recent day that I had in studio. So everybody who you see on camera today, I will have their Instagrams linked down below in the description. So go check out all of these amazingly talented models and talented makeup artists who I got to shoot with today. So the theme of the day was kind of neon and kind of Valentine's Day. And you wouldn't really think that those things went together very well, but they totally do. For both of the shoots, one of the models came to me with the idea, and I was like, yeah. And so they started out getting the makeup artist and getting other models, and I started out lighting and brought some costuming ideas. And so it was very much like a collaborative process, but neither of these themes was my idea. Both of them were on the models, which is fantastic. I love having like a ready-made shoot. So the first one was gonna be neon themed. We kind of had this idea of the TV show Euphoria, which I actually haven't watched, but I have seen a lot of like stills from it, so I kind of get the idea. The second shoot was more of a Valentine's Day themed shoot. It was 4 lovely ladies, and they brought their own lingerie sets. So they each had a black set and a pink and or red set. I'm gonna do my very best to keep this YouTube appropriate, but you'll see enough of them that you'll get the idea of what the shoot was about. So I arrived at the studio day of. I arrived about an hour and a bit early. I love to have that extra time in the morning. I like to go slow, set up. I set up my LED light panels, and I set up my strobe lights, and I'll show you why I set those both up in a second. So I have really been digging this lighting lately, and maybe you can understand why. I mean, okay, so I've got a green light, a blue light, and a kind of fuchsia light, and usually I'll put gels over top of them, even though the lights themselves are also tinted. And the reason why I put gels over top of them is, as you can see, they're kind of like a white light, and I'll show you what they look like with the gels. Was that a seamless transition? It's a lot more saturated, and it's easier to tone in Photoshop when they're like this because it doesn't get all washed out with the white light that's getting through. So these light panels are the newer ones. Hang on, I'll show you a close-up of the back. It was about $300 for the full set of 3. And yeah, you get 3. They all change color. They came with stands, barn doors, and they came with that carrying case over there. So it was actually a pretty good deal, and I used them all the time. And at first I set them up in like a blue, fuchsia, and green color palette because that's the color palette that I've had success with in the last few shoots. But that would change later on, and I actually discovered an even better lighting color palette. So then the models arrived. Sam, who's been featured on this channel before, and Shay, and Diego, who is a makeup artist who I've also worked with before, who coincidentally was the makeup artist who Shay had found. So I had already worked with him, which was great. And so here are some time lapses of the models getting their makeups done, kind of a neon theme, something with like some shine. I wanted like holographic highlighter. I think Diego really delivered. And then it was time to get shooting. And so because I had these strobes set up and I just bought these big colored gel sheets for the strobes, which you can see, I kind of wanted to try this technique that I have read about, but not actually managed to pull off yet. And I don't know if I like managed to pull it off, but the results are cool. Like, I don't know if they're good, but they're cool. And I definitely see a lot of like promise for this technique in the future. So what you do is you set up the strobes with the colored gels, and then you turn LED lights on full blast, and so then the strobe fires, and that fixes the position of the person's face or like their outline. And then you move the camera ever so slightly while it's got like a slightly longer exposure, and it creates this like light trail. And I think that that's really cool, and I'm really glad that I figured out how to do it. This was my first time ever doing it, so there's definitely a long way to go before I'm able to like make something that looks professional quality with this technique. But I have been thinking and dreaming about this technique for a long time, and so I was extremely excited to have actually like figured out how it's done. And you'll see this technique a lot more from me. Finally, I had gotten my fill with the strobe light technique, and so we shot with just neon lights. And Shay had this really cool kind of Matrix aesthetic. And I don't know if I say that just because she dressed up as Trinity for Halloween this year, and I saw that picture on her Instagram, and I was like, okay, I see this. But yeah, no, I was like kind of shooting her with greens and purples, and then Sam jumped in there, shot them both with the greens and purples. I did like some cool perspective warping stuff with the wide angle lens in these ones. Thought these turned out really punchy. So I shot a few with Shay and Sam, and then Sam went to get touch-ups done on their makeup and to change. And so I shot just Shay, and this is when I started like kind of playing around with the colors of the lighting, and I figured out that if you add red instead of fuchsia, then it's red, green, blue, which I should have figured this out before, but it creates like this full rainbow spectrum, and then the areas where the lights all hit turn white. I've seen this lighting technique so many times and I have no idea how to do it, and then I just kind of found it by accident, and I was like, oh my god, like, And so then I started freaking out because I was like, this lighting is everything that I've dreamed of and more as a photographer. So yeah, I was over the moon figuring this out. Sam jumped back in there, and like Sam had gotten these like kind of golden tears put on their face by Diego, and oh my god, like it looks so cool. Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. It looks really cool, right? I had a lot of fun shooting those. I tried a few with like linear prisms and kaleidoscope filters, and like the ones that I think worked out the best were the ones that I used the Dream Effects filter for, because it gave it this like film look. Towards the end of that shoot, 2 of my models for the next shoot arrive, and shortly after the makeup artist arrives. So she gets started doing their makeup, and then the other 2 models arrive. I say goodbye to Sam and Shay and Diego, and I am ready to set up for the next shoot. Luckily, I had a little bit of downtime here to edit photos, because this shoot that I'm talking about was on Thursday, and then this video that you're watching is coming out on Monday. And so I only had like 4 days to shoot the video, edit the video, and then sort the pictures and edit the pictures. So I've been doing a marathon. And then it was time to shoot. And it was really funny because I like look up from my photo editing, kind of in the zone with my coffee, and there's just a bunch of like attractive ladies around wearing lingerie running around the studio. And I was like, oh, I missed the part where they changed. I bring the first model over, take some amazing shots. She's a dancer, so she's got these really nice like lines that she can make and like these poses with like pointed toes. Really, really nice stuff. Then it was time for the next model. She was also a dancer and just had these like incredible motion to her, great confidence. Like I've said it once, I'll say it again. A confident model is a good model. Then it was time for my third model. She had this beautiful plume of hair. She also had this robe that was covered in feathers. And the 2 together kind of gave her this sort of like texture and lines and shadows everywhere, but then her face was like, it just draws you in because it's got this like undisrupted look of like serene beauty. And then it was time for my 4th model, and this was Bella, who I've featured on this channel before in my Halloween collab. Same with where you might have seen Sam for the first time. Bella was the one who organized this whole thing, invited all the models, invited the makeup artist, and she's, again, just like confidence, boom. One of the reasons why I love working with Bella so much is because she's constantly changing up her pose, like pose, snap, snap, pose, snap. My camera at this point was on 2 bars. I was like, okay, so my camera's gonna die at some point, so let's do the group shots now, and then we'll do some plain white shots after that in like, you know, more regular lighting with the strobes. So the models all get up on the box and we do a few group shots. They were challenging as a photographer because when you've got 4 models, they are all potentially looking in different directions, potentially like having different levels of readiness for the shot to be taken. So having to coordinate, and looking back, I probably should have counted them down for each shot, been like 3, 2, 1, pose, 3, 2, 1, pose. I'll know that for next time though. After the ensemble shots, my camera is at 1 bar, and I'm like, ah, okay, we gotta get through these like white light shots. So I take down the neon lights, pack them all up, and it's time to start shooting. So we did the ensemble sets first again because we knew that we wanted ensemble sets in this white light. It was more of a classic Valentine's Day aesthetic, so not as like fun as the colored lighting, but a lot more useful in a portfolio. We got a few that were just like, fire. And then it was time to shoot everybody individually again. I only gave about 5 minutes for each person because I wanted to make sure that my camera didn't die before everybody got individual shots with the strobes. But by the grace of the photography gods, are there photography gods? Image making gods. Surely there's image making gods. I was able to capture single shots of all of the ladies, and again, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, all in all, new lighting and ensemble was a new experience for me, but I had a lot of fun with this shoot. And I think I knocked it out of the park. I mean, like, some of these are pretty darn good. But yeah, that was the shoot. And then afterwards, I had to tidy up, which that's like the least glamorous part of any of these shoots, is spending like an hour afterwards, like putting away stands and winding extension cords and sweeping. But it must be done. And I've threw in some bonus footage of that at the end for you, so you get an idea of what the average end of a studio day looks like for me. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the viewership. I appreciate the interest in my creative endeavors. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you got any lighting suggestions, tips for that strobe thing and how I can make it better, like, let me know. Thank you guys again for watching. Take care, stay sharp, and don't forget to keep shooting. Bye, guys.
Playing my ride.